Welcome to Kansas Ag Report with your host, Brian Hallman.
Welcome to Kansas Ag Report. I'm Brian Hallman, and here's our lineup for today's show. In Ag News, we'll take a look at local and national headlines affecting Kansas farmers. In our Ag feature, Ken continues his interview with U.S. Senator Jerry Moran to talk about rail transportation issues. Inside Kansas Ag has insight from K-State Research and Extension on CanMark. And in news you need to know, we have our weekly update from the Kansas Livestock Association. We'll look back at last week's market activity with the guys from Paragon, and we'll let you know about important events coming up around the state of Kansas. Glad you could join us.
Closed captioning brought to you by Dick Edwards in Manhattan, selling America's #1 truck, the Ford F-150, for over 30 years. DickEdwardsAuto.com.
Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers. kansassoybeans.org.
Ag Risk Solutions. Experience, knowledge, integrity. Your crop insurance solution, Ag Risk Solutions. Dick Edwards Auto Plaza in Junction City, home of this year's Motor Trend Truck of the Year, Ram Truck. DickEdwardsAuto.com.
Here's our national headlines for this week in Ag News. The U.S. is on its way to another record year in agricultural exports. Ag Secretary Tom Vilsack has stated, but by the end of the fiscal year on September 30th, exports will set another new record at $152.5 billion of ag exports, as well as a trade surplus record of $43 billion. However, 2015 projections have been lowered due to decreasing values of soybeans and other grains. U.S. Farmers and Ranchers Alliance, a consumer awareness group, has a new campaign entitled I Am Farmland to help in the distribution of a new documentary called Farmland, which is about the lives of young farmers and ranchers. Funds raised will be used to bring the film to high school and college campuses across the country to educate young people on modern agriculture. If you'd like to contribute to the effort, go to iamfarmland.org. Sign up for the new Margin Protection Program for dairy producers is September 2nd through November 28th. The base price to participate will be $100 per farm per year. USDA has an online calculator to help producers determine the level of coverage needed that will provide them with the strongest safety net. The calculator is available at fsa.usda.gov/MPP tool. And in local news, it's tailgating season again, and From the Land of Kansas will hold a tailgate contest at K-State's football's home game September 18th. The contest will seek out the best tailgaters utilizing Kansas products in 3 categories: main dish, side dish, and dessert. Competitors must submit their tailgate spot and select a category by Thursday, September the 11th. For more information on entry requirements, visit FromTheLandOfKansas.com/tailgate. The Kansas Water Office now has an online survey available at kwO.org for Kansans to provide their feedback on the future of water in Kansas. The deadline for this round of feedback is October 15th. The preliminary final draft will be shared at the Governor's Conference on the Future of Water in Kansas, November 12th through the 13th in Manhattan. U.S. Senators Pat Roberts and Jerry Moran and Representative Tim Huelskamp recently toured the future home of the National Bio and Agri-Defense Facility, or NBAF. NBAF will be located on the campus of Kansas State University and will be a state-of-the-art biocontainment facility for the study of foreign animal diseases. NBAF will create up to 1,500 construction jobs and 450 permanent jobs and has an estimated economic impact of $3.5 billion in its first 20 years. Up next in our Ag feature, Ken continues his interview with U.S. Senator Jerry Moran to talk about rail transportation issues. You're watching Kansas Ag Report. Please stay tuned.
Hi, this is Ken Rogers from AgView. This fall, we'll be profiling candidates for elected office here in Kansas. Stay connected with agview.net and kansasAGreport.com.
You can find us on the web at kansasAGreport.com and make sure to like us on Facebook.
This segment brought to you by Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. grassandgrain.com.
A.B. Flint Motor Company, selling quality used cars and trucks in Southeast Topeka at 32nd and South Kansas Avenue. Integrity Gun and Pawn, 2 Topeka locations specializing in firearms and training. igpawn.com to learn more. Kansas Weed Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for weeds. Online at kswheat.com.
Dick Edwards is taking North Central Kansas by storm. We've been bending over backwards to exceed your car buying experience for over 30 years. Choose from one of our 9 different new car brands or from our second to none used selection. Currently, with over 700 vehicles to choose from, we definitely have the one for you. Whether you're coming from the north, south, east, or west, our sales and service departments will work tirelessly to do what's right for you. Dick Edwards in Manhattan and Junction City, bending over backwards for you.
American innovation is being driven in places you might not expect by people like Brent Hayek, an Oklahoma family farmer, who recently set a world land speed record in a Ford Super Duty pickup truck powered by renewable B20 biodiesel. Advanced performance is here, now, putting America on the fast track to more jobs and energy independence. Biodiesel, America's advanced biofuel.
At Ag Risk Solutions, we have been helping our clients make better crop insurance decisions since 1981. We always focus on helping you find the best coverage options for your farm, and it will give you peace of mind knowing you have a partner you can trust. To learn more about our agency, please visit our website, like us on Facebook, or follow us on Twitter. Ag Risk Solutions. Experience, knowledge, integrity. Your crop insurance solution.
Ag Risk Solutions is an equal opportunity provider.
Here at Blue River Traders, we have the greatest selection of rustic and western furniture in Kansas.
At Blue River Traders, you can select from an inventory of rustic lodge or western furnishings. With a designer on hand, Blue River Traders will help create the look you desire.
Dick Edwards is taking North Central Kansas by storm. We've been bending over backwards to exceed your car buying experience for over 30 years. Choose from one of our 9 different new car brands or from our second to none used selection. Currently, with over 700 vehicles to choose from, we definitely have the one for you. Whether you're coming from the north, south, east, or west, our sales and service departments will work tirelessly to do what's right for you. Dick Edwards in Manhattan and Junction City, bending over backwards for you.
We're being joined by Kansas United States Senator Jerry Moran. Lots of issues to talk about. One that is important to Kansans that maybe sometimes we don't think about. As fall harvest will soon be upon us, we hear stories of rail transportation issues in the Dakotas. But there's also those concerns of transportation in Kansas, and part of that is maybe what goes on in Congress to not help them get what's needed, or is congressional action, can that help to get some of these grains and some of these ag products moved?
Ken, we often don't talk this way, but agriculture is dependent upon a global economy. It's dependent upon its ability to get agriculture commodities into world markets, and it needs to be able to do that in the most cost-effective way in order to compete with other suppliers. Transportation, particularly for us here in the middle of the country, in places like Kansas, is critical, and it's highways, roads, and bridges, and Congress did pass. There's not a lot to brag about here, but we did pass a stopgap measure to keep the trust fund monies flowing to the Kansas Department of Transportation and all other states to maintain and improve our roads, bridges, and highways. That's a good thing, and it's necessary for us to survive here in the Midwest. Trains, getting agricultural, particularly grain, to market really does matter. We've got problems at the moment in which the cost of a unit train and loading that train and sending it down the track is hugely expensive. We apparently are competing with coal and other commodities, as we always have. We haven't had the kind of weather in Kansas to have these bumper crops, so we haven't had the rail car shortage over the last several years. But those trains matter, and we have an ongoing working relationship with the railroads trying to make certain that we have the necessary cars. And the policies in Washington, D.C. are to try to make certain that that when we haul grain, it's competitive, both with other railroads and with trucking that grain.
Let's take a little sidestep, but something that is important to fuel that transportation, things like ethanol. We have just a short amount of time. The renewable fuel standard still, that hasn't been finalized.
Well, you know, EPA at the moment has the ability to up the standard or lower the standard. In my view, those decisions need to be made scientifically. And we've had some challenges always with the EPA reaching the right conclusions on many topics, so it's hard to ever defer to them. But ethanol is one of those things that matter to grain producers. In fact, even more so now over time to the livestock producers with the DDGs. And so we have a significant opportunity to provide for agriculture, feed a hungry world as a result of what we do in regard to energy. But I would say that the Obama administration's attack on fossil fuels, on oil, potentially natural gas, upon coal, what that means in rural America is higher prices. It means higher prices at the pump for diesel fuel. It means that electricity that we use to run a pump is more expensive, and more expensive to have electricity in our home. And so we're making a mistake in Washington, D.C. as the administration takes on fossil fuels. It's going to drive up the cost.
We're talking with United States Senator Jerry Moran. You're watching the Kansas Ag Report.
This segment brought to you by Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. Farmers Insurance, your best protection against the unexpected. Call Agent Dan Key at 785-408-5459. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. grassandgrain.com. Blue River Traders, the finest selection of Western-style furniture for your home. BlueRiverTraders.com.
If you'd like to advertise your business on Kansas Ag Report, give us a call at 785-554-5974.
We're talking with Kansas United States Senator Jerry Moran. Well, a year ago we were talking about when a farm bill was going to get done. It finally was complete. Implementation process is now going on. From the Kansas Congressional Delegation, you voted for it. Why?
Well, we needed a farm bill. Farmers needed certainty. What are the rules? And most importantly, they needed to be able to take something to their bankers so they could borrow money to get through the year financially. A farm bill is important. And the way I looked at it is this the farm bill I would write? The answer to that question is no. I would have changes, something different than what was in that bill. Could we get a better bill passed through this Congress anytime in the near future? The answer to that question is no, too. So is this the best opportunity at this moment? I think the answer to that question is yes. And so it needed to be done. We could make improvements, yes, but not without years of work. And so now was the time to get farm policy in place. And of course, a farm bill is a pretty short-term piece of legislation, and we'll be back in a few years starting on the next farm bill. The reality is that there aren't enough of us who care about farm policy to get a farm bill passed. It becomes more and more difficult every year. And there were those who wanted to say that we need to separate food stamp and nutrition programs from the farm bill. The reality in Congress is there's a lot more members of Congress who will vote for food stamp and nutrition programs than will ever vote for a farm bill. And so the marriage, as Bob Dole created a long time ago, the marriage of those two items into a farm bill is really the only way there's going to be a farm bill. So needed to happen.
Will there be a time, though, when we maybe make it a food nutrition bill, and that commodity title will be one that's kind of left aside?
You know, Ken, first of all, I'd take the word farm bill out of farm bill. It's less and less a farm bill all the time. It ought to be called something more accurate. But I would say that, again, if you care about the amount of money that's spent in food and nutrition programs, you want people, I think, like me, which I hope means common sense, middle of America, conservative values, that involved in writing nutrition programs as well. You separate the two, those farm bill, the food stamp and nutrition programs are going to be determined by people who want to spend a lot more money on those programs.
Well, Senator, thank you for your time. Good luck finishing up the rest of this year. Still a lot of lifting left to do.
We'll do some lifting. U.S.
Senator Jerry Moran of Kansas has been our guest. I'm Ken Rogers for AgView.net. You're watching Kansas Ag Report.
Do want to inform folks of the latest to come out of your wheat breeding program here at Kansas State University, specific variety now. It will be called CanMark, and just to note the origins of the name of this variety, if nothing else, if you would, Alan.
Kind of the century of wheat improvement at K-State marked by the release of CanRed. There's a little bit of discrepancy of when CanRed was actually released, whether it was 1914 or 1917, but roughly 100 years ago. And it was developed by a gentleman named Mark Carlton. He was a plant explorer. He had brought in things like Kharkov and some wheats like that were kind of the foundation of hard winter wheat improvement in the plains. He also introduced the durum wheats that are the foundation of the durum wheat production in the north central plains. He made a lot of contributions, and so we chose to name it CanMark in recognition of his contributions in conjunction with a century of wheat improvement at K-State.
It's identified traits and what it's hoping to address in the way of wheat production challenges.
Yeah, so we think CanMark is probably best adapted to the western part of the state. So I kind of draw a line more or less from Russell, north and south, and west of that is probably its best area of adaptation. It will still do well in the central part of the state, but I think historically it's been best out west. We have about a 3-bushel advantage over TAM 111 in the last 3 years, so it's done really well in dryland environments. It's a shorter wheat. I was a little concerned about how short it might be under drought, but it maintained its height pretty well this year under the severe drought. Some other advantages that it has is it does have resistance to both leaf rust and stripe rust, which is an advantage over TAM 111 and some of the other western adapted wheat. It's done really, really well under irrigated conditions, so I think under irrigated conditions it will do well. It is susceptible to scab and fairly susceptible to powdery mildew, but again, kind of where we're targeting it, those aren't issues that we're terribly concerned about.
And in previous conversations about this new variety, you've lauded its yield consistency over time, which may be one of its greatest strengths anyway.
I look at it as more of a workhorse than a racehorse variety, so it's been really consistent. It isn't necessarily the best line in the test all that often, but it's usually in the top third or so of the test, and so it's very consistent. That's a trait I really like in a variety is one that just is a very good, consistent performer.
Expected to be in the hunt for quality yields for several years running once it's released.
Yeah, we do. It does have some genetics in the background for race non-specific rust resistance, which should be more durable. I'm not really convinced we have that package in this variety, but I'm hoping that there's at least some component of that. So I'm hoping there's some durability to rust resistance. I look at the people we have here, and Jesse Poland and Edward Ockenoff and Harold Trick and the people in plant pathology and entomology and everybody that we work with. I think we have a great team put together. I think everything is headed in the right direction. Tremendous support from Kansas Wheat Alliance, Kansas Wheat Commission. So I think we're poised to do good things for Kansas farmers well into the future.
This segment brought to you by Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. A.B. Flint Motor Company, selling quality used cars and trucks in southeast Topeka at 32nd and South Kansas Avenue. Integrity Gun and Pawn, 2 Topeka locations specializing in firearms and training. igpawn.com to learn more. Impact Satellite, your local authorized DirecTV dealer. Impact Satellite at 785-554-5974.
Dick Edwards is taking North Central Kansas by storm. We've been bending over backwards to exceed your car buying experience for over 30 years. Choose from one of our 9 different new car brands or from our second to none used selection. Currently, with over 700 vehicles to choose from, we definitely have the one for you. Whether you're coming from the north, south, east, or west, our sales and service departments will work tirelessly to do what's right for you. Dick Edwards in Manhattan and Junction City, bending over backwards for you.
Imagine having someone help you pick the best corn hybrids for every field on your farm. Your Oldie representative can combine your data with his data to offer a field-by-field prescription. Contact Oldie Seed today at 877-692-4555.
Tammy the Pro Home Plus is all about providing warmth and kindness to aging individuals who find it difficult to live on their own. Tammy's team is made up of experienced caregivers and nurses committed to the highest level of individualized care, focusing on health and well-being and assisting with nutrition, grooming, medications, therapies, and daily living needs, all in a warm, caring environment. Call Tammy the Pro Home Plus today at 785-383-7094 to learn how we can help.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.
This hog is head over hoof for meal made from U.S. soybeans. Now, one hog isn't that impressive, but suppose we add another, and another, and another. Before long, you've got billions of hungry customers around the world all clamoring for the same thing. Our soybeans. Learn more about the billion-dollar appetite of animal agriculture at BeyondTheElevator.com. Brought to you by America's soybean farmers and their checkoff.
Dick Edwards is taking North Central Kansas by storm. We've been bending over backwards to exceed your car buying experience for over 30 years. Choose from one of our 9 different new car brands or from our second to none used selection. Currently, with over 700 vehicles to choose from, we definitely have the one for you. Whether you're coming from the north, south, east, or west, our sales and service departments will work tirelessly to do what's right for you. Dick Edwards in Manhattan and Junction City, bending over backwards for you.
Since 1983, the Hydrobed has been utilized on cattle operations throughout North America. The Hydrobed equips your 3/4 or 1-ton truck for hay handling and feeding. Variable speed cable controls or the optional wireless remote enable you to haul, transport, and unroll 2 round bales weighing up to 3,000 pounds each. A mechanical free float automatically compensates for uneven ground and out of round bales, isolating you and the truck from impact of a bale unrolling. To find out how the Hydrobed can improve your feeding efficiency, call or visit us on the web at triple-c-inc.com.
If the Environmental Protection Agency's Waters of the U.S. proposal goes into effect as written, farmers and ranchers will need government permits to conduct some routine practices. As examples, they could be forced to obtain a 402 permit to apply manure and commercial fertilizer, or 404 permits for building stock ponds. In addition, when the proposed rule's expanded jurisdiction is coupled with EPA's new interpretive rule governing agriculture exemptions, producers would need to seek Natural Resources Conservation Service approval for common activities like prescribed burning, grazing cattle, and building grass waterways. EPA basically is expanding a regulation that since 1993 has been twice invalidated for being too broad by the U.S. Supreme Court. It would dramatically expand the definition of navigable waters that fall under EPA jurisdiction in accordance with the Clean Water Act. The Kansas Department of Health and Environment is projecting classified stream miles will increase from the current 30,620 to 134,338 under the proposed EPA rule. EPA claims there are exceptions to the rule, but the exemptions are worded to provide little or no benefit to agriculture. Ranchers are encouraged to provide input to EPA of how the proposal will specifically affect their business. To do so, click on the Waters of the U.S. link on the front page of KLA.org, then select Submit Comments to EPA.
Good morning. I'm Eric Osterhaus with Paragon Ag. The grain markets seem to be in a wait-and-see trading range across the board, with the only exception being the lagging soybean market. We've really seen corn and wheat trade in a sloppy sideways range over the last 30 to 45 days. The corn market, as an example, has traded a 15-cent range during this time period. In addition to the concern regarding futures price, producers should also be aware of basis trends. In the last 2 weeks alone, we've seen corn basis starting to widen as the expectation is that there will be a lot added to the pipeline soon. The general perception for the corn and soybean buyer is that their patience will likely be rewarded soon. The wheat market, meanwhile, really seems to be directionless, as small news items elicit some small rallies, but without a global issue such as a confirmed all-out invasion of the Ukraine, there just doesn't seem to be enough of a fundamental concern to scare the trade. The wheat chart is turning even more ugly, and new contract lows in the near term would likely encourage an even more bearish trade. The soybean market still appears to be expecting a record crop, although we're very oversold at the moment technically. It appears as if it will take a surprise at harvest to reverse the trend we seem to be stuck in. Shallow rallies look to be sold into as producers look to catch up on what appears to be a bumper crop, at least so far. If you have questions on these markets or any markets, please call Paragon Ag at 888-452-8751. Have a great week.
Closed captioning brought to you by Dick Edwards in Manhattan, selling America's #1 truck, the Ford F-150, for over 30 years. DickEdwardsAuto.com.
Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers. kansassoybeans.org.
Ag Risk Solutions. Experience, knowledge, integrity. Your crop insurance solution, Ag Risk Solutions. Dick Edwards Auto Plaza in Junction City, home of this year's Motor Trend Truck of the Year, Ram Truck. DickEdwardsAuto.com.
Well, that's our show for today. We'd like to welcome our newest viewers in the Kansas City and Wichita areas. I hope you'll join us each week for more news and information about agriculture in the state of Kansas. I'm Brian Holman, and thanks for watching.
Here at Blue River Traders, we have the greatest selection of rustic and western furniture in Kansas.
At Blue River Traders, you can select from an inventory of rustic lodge or western furnishings. With a designer on hand, Blue River Traders will help create the look you desire.
Imagine having someone help you pick the best corn hybrids for every field on your farm. Your Oldie representative can combine your data with his data to offer a field-by-field prescription. Contact Oldie Seed today at 877-692-4555.
Tammy the Pro Home Plus is all about providing warmth and kindness to aging individuals who find it difficult to live on their own. Tammy's team is made up of experienced caregivers and nurses committed to the highest level of individualized care, focusing on health and well-being, and assisting with nutrition, grooming, medications, therapies, and daily living needs, all in a warm, caring environment. Call Tammy the Pro Home Plus today at 785-383-7094 to learn how we can help.